For 7 consecutive years as the world's most livable city, it's fair to say Melbourne won't even make the shortlist this year. The city's famous bustling restaurants and laneway bars all shut down. Big global events that have made Melbourne famous, like the Garden Show, Spring Racing Carnival, the Boxing Day Test, the Australian Open tennis. It's either not happening or not happening with the crowd, cancelled, under threat even. Two vastly different industries, well, they've teamed up. They've got a plan to kickstart Melbourne's hospitality by making use of the city's near-empty multi-level car parks. The Chief Executive of Parking Australia, Stuart, along with the owner of hospitality agency, the Big Group, Bruce Keebaugh, join me now in Melbourne. Bruce, you're an event supremo. You're trying to deliver solutions here that open up jobs and keep people COVID safe, but it's realistic about things like Melbourne's famous changeable weather, if I can be kind. How's your plan going to work?
Look, Peter, firstly, I hate to be a daring man but to disagree with you, but I think Melbourne's got an opportunity to put themselves on the map right now for once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. And I think what we can deliver for the Melbourne CBD is just great experiences that are totally unique, and I think this is the opportunity. The weather, don't you worry, Melbourne will turn it on, and if we get the quotient for the outdoor density ratio right, we will be able to use the top level of the car park, and we might even be able to go underneath in case we need to.
It's an extraordinary idea, Stuart, because a lot of people might not realise if they're interstate that all the car parks in Melbourne, the public car parks, were shut down months and months ago. People are working from home, obviously, the CBD's empty. Your industry members have been decimated. What do they think of this idea?
Well, the members are really on board with this, and the great thing is that, yes, while we are in lockdown in Melbourne and the industry's been fairly crippled right across the country, there are still opportunities, not just in Melbourne, but in Sydney and in Brisbane, Hobart, Adelaide. There are car parks in the inner city, right across the suburbs. Basically, the possibilities are endless, and what it really comes down to people's imagination, creativity, and ability to adapt under the current circumstances.
Bruce, normally this time of year, Melbourne really comes into its own. Spring racing, terrific spring and summer of events going right through till basically Easter next year. How on earth does the event industry survive if this sort of creative thinking isn't taken up?
Well, what we need, Peter, is for government actually to listen, and we just need an answer on this outdoor density quotient. Once we know how many people in how many groups we can do, then we can start planning. And once we've got some goalposts, we can kick a ball through. It's not a problem. So we really believe that if we can get that answer ASAP, then things like Melbourne Cup and the tennis can move forward. And then other, ideas like this with Stuart, this is a ripper. This is so much fun. And to create a summer of hope for, Melburnians who've had such a bloody rough trot, we can just bring some joy. But for the CBD of Melbourne, we can actually, the theatres are closed, the galleries are closed. So let's put the galleries in the car park, let's put theatre in the car parks, and let's give people a reason to come to Destination Melbourne and then enjoy the bars and the restaurants. It's a two-way street. We can actually make this work for everybody.
Well, what do you need from government, Stuart? What's the hold-up? How's the consultations with ministers going? Have you bowled this up? What do they think?
Well, I can say that this is a fairly new concept which we've worked on this week, which was, like a lot of ideas, just a thought bubble from someone earlier in the week, and then we went, well, right, we've been so focused on what we can't do for 6 months, and in a matter of a few days, we've like, well, this is what we can do. The possibilities are fantastic. So what we need from government is what Bruce has been talking about, the outdoor density quotas. We also need from local government to open up their thought processes about approvals. As I've said, this is not just a City of Melbourne thing. This might be in Geelong for the footy finals, to get a drive-in possibility to watch the finals. Have the AFL 360 guys come in on the back of Toyota utes and have some events around that, which may be in cars or out of cars, depending on how the restrictions are. So what we really need is local government and state governments to look at these possibilities and be open and open-minded about what we can do.
Bruce, I'm sure here you're also talking about, involvement with the live industry, live music, theatre, all of the other industries, as you say, that are shut down. I know many years ago when I worked for the VRC and when I was a uni student, I did waitressing at the at Flemington, so it's a place for part-time jobs this time of year and casual workers. I'm sure a lot of your workers have been doing it tough. Give me a sense of what the employment impact might be.
Oh, look, it's absolutely decimated. We had a town hall meeting with our team today. They've not been working, Peter, since the middle of March. So if you multiply my organisations and many like mine, we're getting to a stage where we've got employee fatigue and, it's a heavy weight. So this next season has got nothing to do with profitability. It's about people. So what we need to do is get our people back doing what they do. We need to get the people of Melbourne back, spending some money and having some hope and some joy. But the underlying piece with government is we are an industry that can prove that we can actually make these environments COVID safe. In the simplest way, we're looking at this crazy idea for Halloween. Why not have a whole Spooktober kind of thing when you drive through in your car and the family never gets out of the car, but they drive through this crazy environment. And down to, if we're in a larger environment, we've got this thing called Smart Badge, little ad, but, we can track and trace the people inside our environment, and a bit of technology done by Harry the Hirer with Aspen Medical can actually tell us exactly where those 1,000 people in groups of 10 were for minute by minute. So I just implore government to understand that this industry is so well versed in understanding and following protocols.
Bruce, you've got a place that people can go to signal how supportive they are of this idea. But I've got to say, listening to you, like I listened to Chris Lucas in the last few days about his ideas for restaurateurs, I am gobsmacked. I mean, you're a solutions guy. Why aren't you at the table with the ministers and anyone else who needs to be there, getting this thing moving? I mean, we don't wait to the end before we start the recovery. These are great ideas.
Yeah, the problem is, there's so many layers, and my role isn't to give the government a kick. I mean, who'd want to be sitting driving that car at the moment? What we need is fast change, and if I look at what's happened, from the federal government, there was quick change. JobKeeper was a great initiative. It turned around quickly. This is the same. What we need is good ideation and then good support to get it through. Great support from corporate, and we can make great things happen really quickly. And I hope that sentiment stays with the Australian business and government community moving forward.
Bruce Keebaugh, amazing. Go to change.org and you can all sign up, Victorians and interstaters. Give us some help, give us some support. We need the shot in the arm, please. And Stuart, Norman, both of you gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.